IndusInd Bank is the top Nifty gainer, climbs more than 4% after the recent RBI note comes in and they issue statement assuaging concerns over the bank's financial health. Maruti also surges as it says it will hike prices of cars by up to 4% effective from the 1st of April.
Ola Electric is down over 6% after vehicle registration agency Rosmerta Digital Services sues the company in the NCLT for defaulting on payments. Ola strongly disputes the claims made by Rosmerta.
Gold financier Muthoot Finance rallies nearly 5% as gold prices touch a record high above $3,000. The company also informs that their gold loan assets under management have crossed the 1 lakh crore mark.
KEC International and Transformers and Rectifiers are up between 5 to 6% after both companies have won new orders. KEC International has won orders worth close to 1,300 crore rupees across businesses, while Transformers and Rectifiers has won an order worth 726 crore.
We also have IKS and MobiKwik both trading lower after the company's post-IPO shareholder lock-in period ends today. Good morning. You're watching us live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. This is Chartbusters. I'm Mangalam Malu. With me, Hormas Patakia. Market-busting charts this morning. We opened with a gain and we're holding on to those gains, so that's a positive. The mid-cap index one step ahead with nearly 2 stocks advancing for every stock which is declining. The Nifty Bank is the one which is leading the gains. Hi, Hormas.
Hi, Mangalam. And slightly off the highs, but still holding on to gains, as you mentioned, right? And there's a similar level of rejection around 22,600 is where we are seeing some resistance on the index. 22,577, the highs of the day, exactly 100 points lower from those levels. But as Mangalam mentioned, there is plenty of activity within the broader markets, and there are stock-specific moves on enough and more number of stocks that are moving on news flow. We'll get to that in just a bit. But let's also welcome in Shivangi Sarda of Motilal Oswal Financial Services for a quick chart check. Shivangi, good morning. Thank you for joining in. 22,600 is where the Nifty has been facing some resistance over the last couple of trading sessions. Where do we go from here on the index? And couple that up with your stock recommendations as well this morning.
Very good morning, Hormas and Mangalam. Thank you for having me. So we've seen that the indices have been facing some sort of a lackluster move. They have been moving in a range from the last 6 trading sessions, and 22,300 is acting as an important base level here. So that will continue to do so, but the upside, we are facing some resistance around 22,650 levels. There has to be some unwinding required at 22,600 for this level to cross and sustain over these levels. But then again, overall, we've seen that the texture of the market is positive. Support-based buying is intact. So overall, stock-specific action will continue, and we are recommending buy on decline for Nifty, with a support of 22,300 and the next resistance levels at 22,650 marks immediately, and then 22,800 levels. Now, talking about Bank Nifty, of course, there has been heavyweights which have been supporting this index today. And from the last 4 trading sessions, we've seen that the supports have been shifting higher. There has been some underperformance from a very long time in the banking index. But overall, we're seeing that it is now holding above its key exponential moving averages on the daily frame. So we are doing a buy on decline here as well, but the momentum is slightly less as compared to the broader market. We are looking at 48,000, which is a close support here for the upside levels of 49,250 marks. Now, talking about stock-specific ideas, first up on my radar is ICICI Bank. Of course, heavyweight here, and excellent short covering move that we've seen here in the last week. We've seen that after the short covering move, there has been good follow-up buying as well, negation on the weekly basis, and we've seen that the 2-3 weeks losses have been recouped. Heavyweight, and of course, there has been a lot of open interest activity here as well. So recommending a buy here with a target of 1320 levels and a support of 1225 zones. Now, the second pick on my radar is from a pharma space, which is Sun Pharma. We've seen that, pharma space tend to outperform in these kind of a choppy kind of a market. But overall, Sun Pharma has been one of the most resilient stocks, even despite the other names. From the last 6 to 7 trading sessions, we've seen that it has been moving with volume. So price confirmation here as well. Now, on the weekly basis, we've seen that the negation has happened, and a good follow-up is also seen over here. Good amount of open interest activity adding up here as well. So recommending a buy here with a target of 1,800 levels and a support of 1,665 levels.
All right, we take that point. Shivangi, thank you so much for joining in and giving us your view on a bunch of stocks. Speaking about stocks, just keep an eye on Jubilant Foodworks. The stock opened lower and from there it's recovered about 5.5% from lows, currently at the high point of trade. The other one that's doing well is Zomato as well. The next Nifty entrant. So Zomato is the one which, after some correction, has picked pace once again above 200 rupees for that stock as well at the high point. But let's get you some ideas for profit coming in from our colleagues at Money Control Pro. Today we have Kanchi Shah joining in.
So the company that I've chosen for today is Maruti Suzuki India Limited, which is the market leader in the domestic passenger vehicle segment. It is known for offering a car for each customer segment and providing the highest mileage. However, the company's market share has declined to 41% from 50% in 2020 due to intensifying competition from the local and foreign manufacturers. Maruti aims to reclaim its market share of 50% by 2030 by introducing new series of models. It has also entered the electric vehicle segment with the launch of e-Vitara, and it plans to launch 3 additional new EV models by 2030. Currently, the company has a production capacity of 2.35 million units and it plans to expand to 4 million units by 2030. In the third quarter, Maruti held a 49% share in the export market for passenger vehicles. Going forward, the company plans to increase exports particularly to Africa, Latin America and the Middle East. Maruti will be also the exclusive manufacturer for e-Vitara, with plans to export the models to over 100 countries. The overall demand outlook for passenger vehicle remains positive, with the stock currently valued at 25 times FY26 projection, which we feel is an attractive valuation given Maruti's market leadership. Thus, it is a promising investment opportunity.
All right, with that, we'll step into a short break. Come back on the other side. We speak about a bunch of stocks which are moving around, tell you the reasons why, and also focus on the markets. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and shifting focus now to the commodities market. Manisha Gupta is joining us to tell us on the one commodity that she's tracking today. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, and thank you for that. Well, I'm looking at the gold and silver prices because we've hit all-time highs in the Indian markets here. And when you look at the international markets, well, the gold is trading at an all-time high there as well. This is what we've done in sense of charts. In the last 1 week, we've seen gold prices gain up by 4%, 40% up in last 12 months. When you look at the previous year, the gold price has gained up by 28%. And in 2025, the first quarter is still running and we're already up by 14%. Not just gold, you have seen similar gains come in for silver as well, where the prices actually have outperformed in the last 1 week with 6% of gains, 35% up in last 12 months. We've seen silver prices gain up by 22% in last year, and it's up 17% in this quarter already. So strong run-up continuing there. Well, there are major factors that you have seen support continuing from. To begin with, it is about the US dollar index, which is trading at a 5-month lows, and that clearly has been supportive for the precious metal prices. Apart from that, the US data that has come in, whether it is the CPI or the PPI, the inflation numbers were on the weaker side, and that has been supportive as well. And then it is about tariffs as well, where EU is talking about 50% tax on wines, while US says that it will retaliate with nearly 200% going back. And with the kind of inflation data that we have seen come in from the US, the expectation of a Fed rate cut has just about increased. Risk aversion is yet another thing which has been supportive for the safe haven buying in gold and silver, both of those commodities there. Well, the markets also are looking at the kind of buying that we have seen in China. China's central bank has been buying for a 5th straight month. And on the Sunday, we've also seen China come out with a very strong stimulus measure, ensuring that there is increase in consumption from rural, urban India, whether it is about childcare subsidy, whether it's about buying, property buying, etc. There is a lot of money being allotted. And there also is a statement from China suggesting that they will stabilize the stock market. Of course, we are still awaiting details onto that one. But with these Chinese statements as well, there has been supportive. Markets also are looking at the fact that you're looking at weaker economic data from various countries that has been supportive, and then very strong ETF buying. When you look at European Union or US, in this quarter until now, there has been a 46 and a 68 tons of buying in sense of gold via ETFs. That tells you that there is new crop of investors now coming in for gold, and portfolios have been increasing, and that in turn has been supportive as well. A final chart should tell you on what is the expectation going forward from here when it comes to gold. Goldman Sachs, after 3,000 is done, is talking about 3,100. UBS expects the prices to decline and close this year at around 2,900. 3,000 is what Bank of America is talking about. And Citi expects the prices to gain much higher, up to $3,200 an ounce in this year itself. So, well, bullish cues continue when it comes to gold.
Bullish cues continues when it comes to gold. Manisha has been speaking about Goldman Sachs, UBS, BofA, Citi. She herself has been talking about how gold has been shining, but lately she's been focusing on silver as well. 1 lakh rupees a kilo is what she's been speaking about out there. So we'll just keep an eye out on this. And we don't know how much of the commodities action is, showing in something like an MCX, which has actually seen an up move today. The volumes on that will be something that we'll most definitely keep an eye out on. 5,000 rupees is what MCX had crossed. So that's gold and silver. We're talking about MCX, the listed stock. Pull that one up, and that's the one which is buzzing with decent amount of volumes, up around 5% as we speak, crossing that 5,000 rupee mark on the exchanges as well. There you have it. That is MCX, closer to 5,000 now as we speak. Maruti is the other stock which is in green today. The company is taking hikes once again. Sudarshan joins in to decode all these hikes. Sudarshan, cars are getting very expensive. Maruti in particular, thrice this year so far.
That's so true. So normally price hike news is taken positively, but if you look at today's chart of Maruti stock, the stock is down almost 2% from day's high, and there are reasons to it. While company is saying that certain costs have increased, and due to those, company has taken price hike, and in the last 3 months it's the third price hike. In January the price was increased by up to 4%, even Feb the price was increased by up to 4%, and now effective April 1 again price is going to be increased by up to 4%. Now what are the reasons that company is taking price hike? Okay, company has mentioned about the cost increase, but if you look at the sales also in February, also sales were largely below estimates, and it's mainly because of entry level sales. Both Alto and Espresso sales were down more than 31%, while sales were supported by higher segment, basically utility vehicle, where we saw sales have increased by 6%. Now, again, for the month of March, on April 1, sales data, wholesale data will come. But if you look at the data for the March, from March 1 to March 16, retail data that you can see on Vahan website, as of now, the registration for PV industry is down almost 22%, and the entire auto registration is down 15%. So even on the retail front, the numbers are not looking that good, and that might be one of the reasons that these companies are forced to take the price increase.
Indeed, price hikes, cars getting expensive, roads getting difficult to drive on. It's not a good...
And increasingly fines getting 10 times more as well. We'll talk about that in just a bit, but that's a raw nerve that you've
it's not the best time if you're an auto enthusiast, and it's not a good time if you're an Ola Electric shareholder either, because the stock is down 7% now in today's trading session. At the lowest point of the day, below 50 rupees a share now is the stock, and that is after a vehicle registration company, Rosmata Digital Services, is taking the company to the NCLT. Parikshit is joining in with more on this. Parikshit, good morning. What are you picking up?
Well, all of this began on the 19th of February with Ola Electric sending a notification to the stock exchange that it was renegotiating its contract terms with its vehicle registration agencies, including Rosmata Digital Services. Now, why did this happen? One, Ola Electric has a direct selling model as opposed to a dealer model, and dealers usually register vehicles on behalf of customers. Ola hired an agency to do the registrations for the company and also provide high security number plates to customers. Now, Rosmata claims that it's not just about renegotiation of contracts. Ola has actually defaulted on payments for the vehicle registrations carried out, for the high security number plates provided, and also for defaulting on the terms of contract that the two companies had signed. As a result, Rosmata has taken Ola Electric to NCLT in Bengaluru under Section 9 of the IPC to claim the amount in default, which is around 22 crore rupees. We'd like to tell our viewers that there are two insolvency pleas that have been filed. One is for high security number plates, which is around 2 crores, and also one for vehicle registration. The sum for that is around 20 crore rupees. So that's a total of 22 crores, which is being claimed by Rosmata. We're yet to see the complete copy of the petition. Now, as far as the actual numbers go, the Vahan registration numbers for Ola goes, Ola had said on the 19th of February that because of this renegotiation of contract, its numbers would be impacted in the Vahan portal. The registrations would be impacted, but it will normalize in the next few weeks. In February, they sold around 8,600 scooters. In the month of March, to date, they have sold around 7,500 scooters. So they're yet to reach that 25,000 mark, which they had claimed. Ola is also under pressure because they have said that they will be EBITDA positive when they reach a milestone of 50,000 vehicles per month. They've yet to reach that mark. And all these legal cases, including the 10,000 complaints against them with the CCPA, all of them is mounting pressure on the stock as well.
Take that point, Parishad. Thank you so much for joining in. We here have quizzed Bhavish Agarwal on these points earlier as well. He remains steadfast on his commitment. Let's see whether, the numbers do follow or not. But with that, we'll take a short break. And as we do that, let's tell you some good news that we have to give you. India's business news leader is now just a click away. That's the CNBC-TV18 all-new app where you get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, and all the financial world updates at your fingertips itself. So download the app from either the Apple Store or Google Play Store, or you can just scan that QR code which is there for you on the screen. Welcome back. You're watching us here on Chartbusters. A bunch of stocks busting charts right now. We have Zaggle Prepaid, which has moved to the high point of trade. Remember, this has been one of those big decliners from the top, has nearly halved and now seeing some bit of bottom fishing if one must. Godfrey Phillips is the other one, which has continued to do well and now is picking more gains, up 4%. In fact, in the month of March itself, the stock is up 14%. And in the last 12 months, the stock has nearly doubled. Remember, over the last 9 or 10 quarters, the company has outperformed the industry when it came to cigarette volume growth. So as a result of which continues to gain market share and market cap as well. So that's Godfrey Phillips. But it's the microfinance sector which continues to struggle, and these woes are not likely to see any difference or any improvement soon. That's the word coming in our latest research in FinStreet. Abhishek joins us now to highlight the pain in this space and what's ailing the microfinance lenders.
Well, CNBC-TV18 was the first one to highlight the pain in the microfinance sector owing to over-leveraging of customers. And the situation is unlikely to change in a hurry. In fact, this may well be the longest cycle of pain for the microfinance industry. So what's happened in the past year or 4 quarters? So several lenders have seen a decline in their AUM. AUM for Fusion Microfinance as well as Spandana Spurti has actually decreased both YOY and quarter-on-quarter. For 9-month FY25, CREDAC, that is Credit Access Grameen, ESAF SFB, Fusion Finance as well as Spandana Spurti have seen a decline in their AUM. Net interest margin of lenders with high microfinance exposures have dropped significantly or sharply year on year. Now, highest decline in net interest margin is seen for ESAF SFB, Fusion Finance as well as Spandana Spurti, while on a sequential basis, that is quarter on quarter, the highest decline is seen for Fusion Finance, Spandana Spurti and Suryodaya Small Finance Bank. Provisions have spiked up a lot for these lenders in the microfinance sector. Now, provisions as percentage of net interest income has increased for almost all the lenders. Provisions have risen on account of higher slippages. Quarterly annualized slippage ratio has jumped for all the lenders focused in the microfinance sector. Some of them have given double-digit quarterly annualized slippage ratio in Q3 FY25. Now, with recovery rate being on very low for the microfinance sector, elevated slippages would mean that there would be higher write-offs for these lenders. Hence, return ratios get impacted. So, return ratios have deteriorated for all the lenders over the past few quarters. Return on asset has fallen a sharply or steep decline seen for all the lenders focused in the microfinance sector. Lenders like Spandana Spurti, Fusion Finance have reported abysmal return on asset as well as return on equity. So from the date of our warning on the stress rising in the microfinance sector, the sector has seen massive underperformance to the benchmark index, that is Nifty. With respect to outlook, let's see what is this sector going ahead. Is that the net worth of some of the lenders have depleted significantly. This can restrain the AUM growth in the near term. Now, interest income of many lenders have declined sharply and this may continue in the near term. Hence, you can expect the net interest margin to remain under pressure in the near term for these lenders. Tighter net interest margin and higher credit costs will impact the return ratios. Loan recovery practice in Karnataka has seen restrictions by the state government. This can lead to further delay in repayment of overdues for the lenders, and that's why it can also impact certain key lenders in Q4 FY25. We also need to see whether the Karnataka issue has a spillover impact for other states or not. Now, Kotak Mahindra Bank recently said that pain in the microfinance sector may continue in Q1 FY26. So post the asset quality woes, the pickup in business momentum will come into focus. So an early end to the microfinance industry trouble looks unlikely.
Well, Abhishek, thanks a lot for that update. We'll continue to update you on the stress in the microfinance space. But for now, the indices still holding on to some bit of gains off the highs of the day. The Nifty nearing that mark of 22,500. But with that, we call time on this edition of Chartbusters. From Mangalam, me and the team that put this show together, thank you so much for watching. Trading Hour on the other side.